Hello, hello, hello. We have another new chapter of Bakemonogatari. They're coming out at a pretty steady pace right now, which is exciting, since we're diving into a new arc. The last chapter ended with one of the most legendary scenes in this entire franchise, one that is often the subject of derision among people who are not fan of the series, something that they cite as just a perfect exemplar of the series' perversion and general, perversion. I don't think there's another word that really can describe it. And you know what? I'm just not going to weigh in. I'm just going to say that that is how Monogatari is and was and always shall be. And we'll move forward. This is an amazing recreation of The Birth of Venus, a very famous painting by Sandro Botticelli. I had to look up the name, I couldn't remember. With, of course, the seashell that Venus apparently rose up from the sea foam riding upon, replaced with a pair of frilly panties. Sure, sure, nice, nice. Intel received. Intel received. Saving onto the hard drive. This is unreal. This is like still just the panty shot. So in the last chapter, I tried to see how many pages they would devote to this out of curiosity. Blam. So from page 14 onwards, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we get a break, and I thought, you know, it was over. A 5-page panty shot. That's pretty ridiculous. But it's still continuing. This is still the panty shot. 6, 7. Saving onto the hard drive. Look at all these formulas. Do any of them mean anything? I don't really recognize any of them, but like 8 pi g over c to the 4th. What could that possibly be? I don't know. How do I put this? Scriptures happen to have extremely low security when it comes to hiding things you don't want to be seen. Maybe I start to bring Spat's firewall then. It's amazing that she was able to jump into his like metaphorical space that he was already thinking in terms of computer security, downloading, storing to hard drives, and then she references the Spat's firewall. Good. Huh? Huh? Good. I'm the virus. Yeah, this is a good representation of viruses, both random hex strings and, what are these called? Bacteriophages? Yeah, a bacteriophage. Phage? Phage? I don't know. I always thought those things looked so creepy. To think that viruses, and I'm not going to get into it, but we all know that viruses are a big, big deal right now. That in the end, after all this damage they cause, after having such a huge presence in our life, this is what they look like. So unearthly and alien and mechanical. It's just so creepy. Okay. Murphy's Law was pretty popular for a long time, right? After all, they say if you drop a bread, it'll fall on the buttered side. Murphy's Law, of course, being what can go wrong, will go wrong. And it's not trying to make some sort of statement about fate or the nature of reality or anything like that. It's just a mindset that you should have when making plans. That you should always follow Murphy's Law and account for absolutely everything that could go wrong. Because it will go wrong. Maybe we should add, when you plan things behind someone's back, it'll flip someone's skirt up front, skirt up front part. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm a big fan of Hofstadter's law too, which is that everything will take longer than you expect, even when you account for Hofstadter's law. It has a nice recursiveness that is very Hofstadter-y. Why did this girl start talking to me? It's so awkward. It's like she's harassing me or something. This is really interesting that we're seeing the Araragi of the past's internal monologue. Because we get his internal monologue quite often in the present day of the series. And it's very, very different. And the way that it's set in the square bubbles as if it's like almost narration, really kind of gives it an objective tone that you start to think of it as like the tone of the series itself, if you kind of get what I mean. Um, but that when we switch back to the Araragi of the past, it's so different. It's so much less confident, so much more anxious and confused, kind of lacking that Araragi cockiness that we've all grown to love. So I don't know. It's like it feels like the whole mode of the series is going to change if this is how Araragi is thinking to himself. May have lied about not seeing it, but there was a shadow, so I didn't see it. Of course he saw it. And Hanekawa knows that he saw it. These are 3 really good faces that Hanekawa makes here. Oh my gosh. The first one especially, that mixture of like, uh-huh, and oh, like, she's surprised at his audacity to lie. And here we see the panty shot again. So I'm going to count this as an 8-page panty shot. Should I feel better as a girl if you just went and said, I saw it clear as day? I really want to say that, but I can't fabricate the truth. I don't feel very good, then that's too bad. But I think you're lying to me here. Only spewing lines that a lying man would make. So anyways, with a fan of 6 pages, didn't you have an extremely detailed illusion about the contents underneath my skirt? Oh, Hanekawa makes a lot of meta jokes. Hachikuji makes meta jokes too, and I feel like Shinobu sometimes breaks the 4th wall. But I feel like it's really different with Hanekawa. Oh, Yatsugi as well, of course, is always breaking the 4th wall. But those characters are extremely supernatural. You know, Hachikuji is a ghost. Shinobu is an ancient entity. Yatsugi as well, extremely ancient and supernatural and not really human. But for Hanekawa, who is an extraordinary girl, but really is just a girl, to say something like, for the span of 6 pages, by the way, it's up to 8 now, for her to make a joke like that is just so baffling, so, like, to really consider the ramifications of it, your mind just boggles. It seems to suggest that, like, I don't know, that the door of supernaturality has been wide open for a while, and it's more about Araragi's perception than it is about an actual change of state. And I'm getting too. It's just a gag. It's just a joke. But then a lot of things in the series that we thought were just gags, that I thought was just kind of a incidental quirk of the storytelling or the lore building, might turn out to be important later. So just your imagination. Just your imagination. Until now, I was imagining a beautiful and lively scene in my head. This wasn't a lie, technically. What a beautiful and lively scene. Just thrown in there. Okay, I'm off. Masaraki-kun. My name. You know my name. You don't know me, Araragi-kun, but you're quite famous, you know. Hanekawa. Hanekawa Tsubasa. Yes, so she tries to flip it on him. I'm sure she knows that she's kind of a school celebrity. So she hits him with, don't you realize you're a famous delinquent too? You know the name of a commoner like me. Nobody in our school doesn't know who Hanekawa is. I heard it from my alien friend. That's a good joke. See, he sets himself up in a different way back then than he does now. Nowadays, he kind of sets himself up for a more self-serving joke, and is happy to go along with it. I like this depiction of the alien ship here. It actually does seem quite alien. You know, normally for this sort of thing, you'd go with a gag of like a crudely drawn, super simple UFO or something like that. But the fact that Oh Great's instinct is to draw a ship that has all the personality and uniqueness necessary for this to actually be like a series about aliens or something, you know? Like it was the mothership in Dead Demons or something like that. Bizarre. So this image, you're living alone all the time. Cool guy is that? That's you, cool guy! Seems like she knows about me, but it feels like she doesn't know much either. You're right about me not having any friends. You're the famous one who my neighbor knows about. Hmm. So this is really interesting. Like, we kind of know these characters from having seen stuff in the manga so far, and we of course know them a lot better if we're watchers of the anime or readers of the light novels. But like at this point in the story, they know nothing at all about each other, and they're feeling each other out kind of based on reputation. And both of them are like kind of denying their own reputations, denying that they have reputations in the first place. And more than just the fact they're doing that, it's like the reason why to the other. How do I? It's like unbridgeable, you know. Like the reasons why Hanekawa doesn't want to be known, and the reasons why Araragi doesn't want to be known, they're like passing each other like ships in the night. But even though it seems like they have this sort of connection in the way that they're behaving, there's actually this unpassable gulf. For the first time, Hanekawa showed me a very unpleasant face. And this was the woman who blushed and smiled while her panties were completely out in the open. Indeed. Hmm. Now that I think about it, I really should have paid more attention to that weird feeling I got from Hanekawa at this moment. Ooh, this is really strange to me. Like how much personality, like, or sorry, how much further is this narration from what's happening right now, and how much has Araragi's personality changed from what's being depicted and this narration? Like it's kind of weird because some of this narration, the first one that I was thinking about, where he says, "Why did this girl start talking to me? This is so awkward." This is in the present tense. This is like narration describing the scene as if it's his thoughts while it's happening. And then here we switch to, I should have paid more attention to that weird feeling I got from Hanekawa at this moment. It's weird, right? Like, to have these two different temporal spaces of narration in the same chapter. I guess it's maybe not that weird. Maybe I'm just hyper focused on it because the tone of the narration has changed. I'm trying to like break that down. Maybe this actually happens all the time. Couldn't comprehend why Hanekawa was following me. I was only focusing on how I could escape, so I didn't give a damn about what she was saying. Do you believe in vampires? One of the most iconic lines in the whole series, not just because it's the first reference chronologically to vampires and the supernatural, and ultimately, perhaps the fact that she asks him kicks off the entire chain of events that really defines the entire series. But the way that it's phrased, do you believe in vampires? So much of the series is based around opening that curtain to the supernatural, taking a look behind the scenes, and kind of opening this up for the very first time, chronologically, of course. Um, it's pretty interesting. I always think it's interesting when series have these kind of iconic moments, either just through normal chronological progression or later in the series they flash back to something you already know the significance of. How they drive home like this is the defining moment of the series. And I love how it's done here. We have this kind of overthinking narration, overlaid over top of kind of a weird conversation, but a very casual conversation. And then this break in the paneling with this adorable little vampire text bubble. Do you believe in vampires? We don't see her saying it. We don't see his reaction right away. For a second, we're just left in total isolation to contemplate this question. I love it. I love it. It's so charming. It really makes me appreciate like manga as a medium when I see something like this, as so much in the series does. About vampires, she's only pretending to be calm. She's trying to overwrite the panties data in my heart just by switching to a very strange topic and deleting it from existence. That has to be her plan. So here we see speech bubbles in the moment. I guess it would be really weird to have narration, retrospective narration, and in the moment narration on the same page. So instead we get his thought bubbles. These things are starting to become a hot topic. Right now there's a vampire in this town. So it's dangerous to walk alone at night. How does she know that? Has that ever been explained in the series? How Hanekawa knows that? You know, with all the supernatural stuff around Hanekawa, all the character arcs she's had, all the extreme trauma and action and emotional breakthroughs, still feels like there's mysteries that remain. How did she know that? How did a vampire be here? That's so cheap and a total lie. Naive honor student. My data won't be disappeared by doing this. I'll never erase this, no matter what happens. Now we're back to in-the-moment narration. I don't know. I'm becoming obsessed with this. It's probably not worth fixating on so much, but it's interesting to me. Again, it's stuff that reflects the medium of manga. The choices you make. Square bubble or thought bubble. That matters. I think it's quite stupid, though, but there are very detailed descriptions about it. A blonde, a very beautiful person. Alright, whatever. No, that's fine. That's a little typo. There's no shadow. Damn, we're going full Kizu now. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to get at least full Kizu now. So this is episode and guillotine cutter. Wait, is this guillotine cutter or is this dramaturgy? I think maybe it's dramaturgy. Two of the major foes Araragi has to overcome in Bakemonogatari. Very, very cool shot. Wait. Yeah, episode doesn't have a shadow, but the guy on the left must be Guillotine Cutter, because he does have a shadow. I guess? Honestly, if vampires really exist, I'd like to meet one. Once I've been killed. Or I could to say, I want to believe. Be nice if an existence higher than humans were on this world. I just love just the way that the character is developed. This kind of deep melancholy that just starts leaking out bit by bit. It's such a compelling way to design a character, especially in this kind of like retroactiveness where we, well, especially for, you know, the manga reader, light novel reader, the anime watcher, light novel reader base of the fandom that knows so much more about Hanekawa at this point, to kind of see these very tender depictions. Be nice of an existence higher than humans was here on this world. If there isn't any, then I won't be rewarded. This is such a deep topic when you really want to get into it. It reminds me of something in the latest season of BoJack Horseman, where Diane is talking about how, for all the times she's suffered, if she's not able to transform that into some meaningful writing that expresses that pain, then it wasn't for anything. Then it wasn't good suffering. That really hit me deep. And yeah, Hanekawa having this terrible, terrible life, all this misfortune that's rained upon her, no one will reward her. Sure, she gets top marks in school. Okay, fine. Maybe she's got an amazing career path laid out for her. Are these really rewards, though? She's really just going to keep going on suffering. There needs to be something transcendent, something that makes good for the transcendent suffering put upon you, for just the bad RNG you've had in life. There needs to be something that sits on the other side of the scale. I understand. That would be nice. Hella funny. I don't think this is in any of the other mediums, is it? I'm trying to think of how this would have been depicted in the anime or the light novel, and I can't recall it. So I wonder if this is a manga exclusive scene, episode flipping them off, saying hella funny. Because the cruel reality is, there is something that transcends humanity in the world of Monogatari, but it doesn't give a crap about humanity. It's not some benevolent god that's trying to make good for all the arbitrary suffering. No, it's just the crazy bunch of kooky people that are so, well, not even people, sorry, a bunch of kooky yokai that are so abhorrent and based around functionality that they simply can't comprehend something like human justice. All they know is what they know. To be honest, back then I didn't understand. Future narration again. I don't know what's going on. But what Hanekawa was saying and what I wanted to say. This talk is connecting. This girl's bad news. She's speaking Japanese, but it's like I'm hearing a language that doesn't even exist. She's an alien or vampire. I brought up the alien. No. Surprisingly easy to talk to, Araragi-kun. I feel like I eased up and said some things that didn't make much sense, huh? They make so much sense, Hanekawa. Oh, poor Hanekawa. If you're so easy to talk to and you have no friends, that's so weird. Why don't you make any Araragi-kun? And then another super iconic line of the series, and one that I think is just so funnily foreshadowed, because several characters like mock him for saying this, especially his sisters are always going on and on about oh, excuse me. That he would be saying stuff like this, that he had this crazy sense of justice. Because my human strength will decrease. And there is kind of a compelling line of thinking to this sort of stoicism. And I know a lot of people that kind of operate like this, that they assume, you know, the more things I can take on by myself, the better, because I can always rely on myself. So why would I ever rely on a friend? I don't understand. If I had a friend, I would have to start worrying about them, right? If they get hurt, I get hurt. If they're sad, I get sad. Maybe it's something akin to gaining more weaknesses. It's the weakening of the human being. If you have fun with a friend, you'll have fun. If your friend's happy, you'll get happy. So you'll unconditionally get weaker, okay? You'll get more weak points, but you'll get more strong points too. I mean, Hanekawa's argument is really, really strong, but like it's actually just kind of overkill. I think on Araragi's own merits, just trying to argue on the strength of trying to avoid weaknesses, I think being dependent on other people decreases your weaknesses overall. Like the mindset of having to face everything on your own. I don't know. This is like, as I said, I have some friends who are like this. They're very stoic, that will never ask their friends for anything. And it's distressing. It's distressing to know that you'll never be relied on, even when you can't help. And I don't know, it's something, yeah, it's something I can't really talk about too much because it's too, I'll never shut up. It's too important to me. No, I get jealous when my friend has fun. When they're happy, I get envious. Go away. Araragi, you scum. You scum. The phone? That's so new. Actually, that bottle is like hilariously new. If you think about this series being written in like 2007, this model of phone should not exist. Get it now. If you wanted to check if the image of the panties is on my phone. That's hilarious. He's so suspicious. He really is pretty scummy at this point. He hasn't reawakened his love of justice. She's added herself, of course. Name with Furegana. Right. Too bad. You have a friend now. Wow, so charming and so nice. Well, what a good chapter. Like, not very much happened. They just walked and talked. Classic Monogatari stuff. And there wasn't even like that many like crazy depictions of what they were talking about, which is another, usually the very flashy hallmark of the series when nothing flashy is happening in terms of plot. But I just think that the ideas in this chapter really are so resonant that like, who among us can't relate to these kinds of questions, these kinds of feelings, and yet it's expressed so casually, so conversationally, in such kind of silly ways. And with all this charming, lovely energy of this fast friendship being formed between people who are so mysterious to one another and maybe still themselves. Wow, I like it. Okay, good stuff. We will eagerly await the next chapter. The cadence is really good right now. It's about every 2 weeks. Well, it went from, I don't know, the cadence is actually a little difficult to follow right now. Like, I'm not sure what's normal. I'm not sure if we're like catching up to the magazine raws, if we're catching up to the volume raws, what's going on. But I'm just so happy to have more of this series after the last long break. So yeah, let's look forward to more. Bye bye.